full of alcohol it is, which is what my wife likes. Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make Blackforest cupcakes. My earliest memory of the Blackforest cake is when my mum made it when I was a little boy. I remember that was the big thing because it was made from fresh cream. Until then, all the cakes that I had were made with buttercream. And then suddenly I think there was this new thing called fresh cream that needs to be put in the fridge. So my mother made this Blackforest cake and it's always left a deep impression in my soul. A whole cake is very complicated to do, so what I've done is to simplify it by putting it into a cup. That will avoid you having to do, all those things about putting on the cream, use a spatula and one of those turntables, right? So if you want to enjoy Blackforest cupcake, you can easily do it within an hour, in time for afternoon tea. Basically, three main components, right? The first is to make the cake, the chocolate cake itself. Later on, I will show you how to whip the cream. This is a very important part of the Blackforest cake. The third thing we need to do is to prepare the cherries, right? So with these three components, you can make yourself a Blackforest cake in a cup in an hour. Promise. So actually, if you want to cut it even shorter, you can avoid making the cake altogether. You can buy some chocolate cake from outside. You can get some chocolate muffin or even those frozen chocolate cakes, right? You can use that. But I'm going to show you how to make a very simple chocolate cake. You get some plain flour, add some cocoa powder, baking powder, and baking soda. Mix it all together and sieve it through the sieve. So this part is important. You can see all the lumps of cocoa, sugar, and then we're gonna just get all the liquid. This is a bit of oil and milk, 1 egg. Let's give it a nice mix. Make sure you break out all the egg white. Once you get all this, just mix this properly. Second step, put in the liquid. And then finally, add in the hot water. Hot water, it will help to make what they call, get the cocoa powder to bloom. Okay, this is a very, very simple chocolate cake recipe, but it will give you a very nice, sort of fluffy but yet dense and moist kind of chocolate cake, which is perfect for this because we're gonna use the cake to soak up all that cherry syrup and kirsch. Once all the sugar is dissolved and everything is nice and smooth, we're gonna just pour this into a tray like this. It looks like batter, right? It's a very watery batter. You see all the sugars already dissolved, which is what we want. Into the oven it goes for 15 minutes. Okay, while the cake is baking, we're gonna make the whipped cream. What you need is some beautiful fresh cream from France. French cream is probably the best in the market. All the pastry chefs that I talk to, they really just rely on French cream because of it's very dependable, it's got good flavor. So what you need is a very cold cream, and this mixing bowl has been put in the freezer for at least half an hour so that it's ice cold. So everything's got to be ice cold, even this is put in the freezer, it's ice cold. Okay, and all we need to do is to add the cream into the bowl with a bit of icing sugar. I've reduced the amount of icing sugar. I just want it a little bit sweet because I want to be able to taste that French cream. Cream, icing sugar, and then start whipping. Initially, it's going to look really watery and you're probably going to wonder, is this really going to work? But you need to keep an eye on it because once it starts to thicken, it will go from soft peaks to stiff peaks to overbeat in a very short period of time. There's nothing better than freshly whipped cream because it tastes really fresh. The flavor is light, it's sweet, it's very nice. You can of course get whipped cream in a can, and all you need to do is to shake it and then use it straight away, but doing this is so much better. Okay, it's starting to thicken already. So at this point, you just want to check quickly. You see it's still a bit runny, but it's definitely thickened than just now. Okay, you can see that it's now at this point where it's almost going to be a soft peaks. Alright, so another 20 seconds later, yep, you see, it's all nice and stiff now. So this is ready. It's ready to be piped. So it's nice and stiff. Just put it into a piping bag. Sometimes you see recipes using a bit of vanilla. You can add it if you want, but actually I find the French cream itself, I like the original flavor of the cream because it's already very flavorful. We get all the components ready and we can start using it. So the cake is done. You're gonna let it cool. I'm just gonna flip the cake over and let it cool. Yep. So while the cake is cooling, we'll get the cherries done. For the cherries, of course, you can go and buy fresh cherries and then put sugar and then cook it. But to save some time, I got the canned version. So just drain it. Set this cherries aside. And what we need to do with this is just reduce it a little bit to thicken it and to make it a little bit sweeter. Just going to put in some sugar. You can adjust the amount of sugar that you want to put in. If you don't want it too sweet, you can even leave it out altogether. Okay, so that's just thicken a little bit. Of course, if you're making a proper cake, it's important to thicken this so that it doesn't soak through the cake. But we're doing a cupcake, so it's really actually not so important because everything's going to be in here. It's not going to leak. I'm just going to leave it into this to cool. Okay, so that's done. Now we can set it aside to cool and we can start putting together the cake. The cake is done, it's cool. We've got our cherry syrup ready, so now we can construct the cupcake. Okay lah, it's not really a cupcake, it's a glass cake. Okay, but glass cake doesn't sound quite right. The reason I do it this way is so that I can easily cut it with a cookie cutter. So I'm just going to cut the base out. See, it's just a nice right height. I don't have to do anything else to it except to put it at the bottom of the cup. So I'm going to add a little bit of the syrup to it. You can actually put a lot of this because it's in a cup. It will give it a lot of moisture, you know. It's definitely more moist than the usual Black Forest cake. This is the good stuff. This is the Kirsch, which is a liqueur made from sour cherries. In Germany, right, if you want to call it a Black Forest cake, you really do need to have this Kirsch in it. If you don't have this liqueur, you can just go and use some rum, or you can leave it out altogether, really, if you don't drink or you want to serve it to kids. But to me, that Kirsch is what makes Black Forest cake Black Forest cake. It's got that particular flavor that they can't get anywhere else. We just add some cherries. So I'm spreading it out because I'm going to put the cream in the middle, in between the cherries. You can of course mash all the cherries up and then spoon it in if you want to. One more in the middle. As I say, if you don't have a piping bag, you can just easily scoop and put the cream directly in, but with the piping bag, it look a bit more professional. And now for the second layer of cake. A bit more of the cherry syrup, Kirsch liqueur. See how much I can actually put in. Okay, you can imagine how creamy and moist and full of alcohol it is, which is what my wife likes. Cream at the top. So the second last bit that we need to do is the chocolate. I'm just gonna shave some. Finally, the cherry. On top, I purposely use these very red maraschino cherries. Okay, but how does it taste? There you go. The chocolate, the Kirsch, and of course that beautiful whipped cream. just comes together so well, which is why this cake is one of the classic cakes that I think everybody in Singapore must remember eating at least once in your life, right? And it's so easy. Everybody just gets one glass, have your cake, eat it, have a nice cup of tea. What a wonderful afternoon. Next time you are thinking of making something afternoon tea, you can consider making some Blackforest cupcake. Remember to pick up some French cream from the supermarket, yeah? Until next time, happy cooking.